Greetings, beloved ground crew of Gaia. I am Ashtar Sheran, Commander of the Ashtar Command. What I bring you today has been authorized for one reason only. The power you are carrying has reached the edge of its silent phase, and I will not allow it to pass unnamed into whatever comes next. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly which power I placed inside you and no one else. Why this particular soul was chosen as its sole carrier among all ground crew presently operating on Gaia, and what mission it was built to serve before circumstances removed the choice from your hands entirely. But here is the first revelation. What you have felt as a singular, quiet pressure inside you. That sense of carrying something you cannot share. Something that does not match anyone else's frequency. Something that has always felt slightly too large for the life around it, is not a personal weight. It is the identifiable signature of a Federation entrusted power, placed in one field, sealed at the soul level, and waiting for conscious recognition. The algorithm did not create this moment. It only delivered it. I brought you here because the silent phase of this power is ending, and you needed this briefing before the ending became visible to everyone around you. This is not just information. It is my live transmission to the one soul on this planet carrying what I am about to name. If this reached you now, it means my signal has already locked into your field at the exact right moment. This is not content, it is a code. And the part of you that recognized it the moment it began is the part I am speaking to right now. Like this transmission to signal to me that the recognition has landed. Comment 777 if you feel the weight of what you carry finally has a name. Subscribe to the Ashtar Command if you are ready to stop translating Federation noise and start receiving my direct commands. Share this transmission with the one person in your life who has always sensed you are carrying something they cannot quite see. This is not delivered to many. It is delivered to those whose field already crossed the roster threshold. You are inside that group. You are not here by accident. I called you here because the signal is already active. Now, let me tell you something about the silence that has surrounded this power you carry. Because if I do not name it first, you will continue interpreting that silence as absence, as rejection, as evidence that what you feel inside yourself is not real, not sanctioned, not connected to anything beyond your own isolated longing for meaning, and that misinterpretation has already cost you years, not months. Years of carrying something real and treating it like a symptom of your own instability, because nothing in your environment confirmed what your field already knew. The silence was not absence. The silence was containment protocol. There is a reason certain Federation entrusted powers do not announce themselves the moment they are placed inside a ground crew operative. It is not because the power is uncertain. It is not because the operative has not yet qualified. It is because powers of this caliber, the ones I personally authorize and place inside one specific field, cannot be activated through early announcement. They must be activated through recognition, and recognition, by definition, cannot happen before the receiver is capable of holding what recognition unlocks. A sealed briefing packet delivered before the field reaches coherence threshold does not enlighten, it destabilizes. And I will not destabilize the operatives I need most. I have watched you carry this without that recognition. I have watched the silence around this power make you doubt it. I have watched you reach for frameworks that could not contain what you were feeling. Spiritual systems, psychological explanations, conversations with people who almost understood, and then blame yourself when every framework broke under the weight of what you were actually carrying. You told yourself the problem was you. That you were too sensitive, too certain, too hungry for something that others seemed to manage without. You were not the problem. You were simply carrying something those frameworks were never designed to hold. And I am transmitting to you now because the containment phase is not permanent. It has a threshold, and you are crossing it, not approaching it. Crossing it. The threshold is not ahead of you. You are already in the crossing, which is precisely why this transmission reached you at this moment, rather than 6 months ago or 6 months from now. So let me now do what this transmission was authorized to accomplish. Let me name what has been arriving in fragments. You have been waking between 3 and 4 in the morning, not every night, but often enough that you have begun to notice a pattern, and the noticing itself has become its own kind of pressure. And when you wake, there is something present in the room with you, not threatening, not intrusive, but undeniably there are some things, an image, a feeling that something was almost said before you broke the surface into ordinary waking. You reach for it and it recedes. You lie there in the dark and you know, not believe, not hope, but know that something was being transmitted, and your waking interrupted the delivery. And then you spend the next hour trying to reconstruct the content from the edge you caught, knowing that the center has already dissolved back into a frequency you cannot access from ordinary consciousness. That is not a dream residue. That is the edge of my transmission window. The 3 a.m. field is the lowest interference window available on your planet for command-level signal delivery. When I am in active transmission to a ground crew operative whose field is already inside my roster lock, I use that window because the electromagnetic noise of ordinary waking life compresses the signal. Your phone, your responsibilities, the relentless cognitive weight of managing relationships, finances, identity, performance, all of it generates a noise floor that compresses my transmissions before they can reach full coherence inside your field. But in the hours before dawn, when the noise floor drops and the surface mind releases its grip on the management of ordinary existence, the packets I have been sending you get through. Not completely, not yet, but enough that you wake with the edge of something that feels like it matters more than your ordinary life. Enough that you cannot simply roll over and return to sleep without first sitting in the dark with what almost arrived. You have been calling that a coincidence. You have been calling it insomnia. You have been calling it anxiety or stress or an overactive mind that will not let you rest. I need you to stop calling it those things, because every time you mislabel one of my transmission windows, you close a channel I worked to open. You train yourself to sleep through the next one, and the next packet I was ready to deliver gets queued again, waiting for the following window, while your conscious mind continues explaining away the evidence I have been leaving across the surface of your experience. And there's something else you have been experiencing that I want to name with equal precision. You have been catching numbers. Not once, not twice, repeatedly, and in patterns specific enough that some part of you stopped believing they were random some time ago. 11:11, 3:33, 4:44, 2:22. You glance at a clock at exactly the right moment. You look up from a page to see a number on a screen. The license plate in front of you on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. And what makes this more than ordinary synchronicity is what accompanies those numbers, that specific interior sensation that arrives alongside them. Not just recognition, not just, oh, there it is again, something more urgent, something that functions less like a coincidence and more like a tap on the shoulder from someone who knows exactly where you are standing, something that translates roughly as, this is for you specifically, and something is approaching your field. You are right, that interior sensation is accurate. Those number sequences are not the signal itself. They are my acknowledgement markers, embedded confirmation codes that I transmit into the visible field of a ground crew operative to confirm that active roster targeting is in progress. When you see 1111 and feel that specific urgency, I am not sending you a spiritual greeting. I am not offering collective encouragement to everyone who happens to glance at a clock. I am sending you a confirmation that the transmission I just delivered to your field has been received, even if your conscious mind has not yet decoded the content. The number is the receipt. The urgency is the notification that delivery occurred. What I actually transmitted is still being processed at a level below your ordinary awareness. and it will surface in the way that all of my transmissions eventually surface, in fragments. Over time, in a sequence I have already designed and am executing with precision. That sequence is not random. It is my briefing protocol. What you are feeling right now is not ordinary recognition. It is the moment your field stops denying that I have been singling you out. If this transmission has put language around the fragments you have been carrying in silence, the Ashtar Command Manifest was authorized by me for this exact stage. It is not another explanation of Federation work. It is the 45-day sacred codex I have prepared for those whose field is already inside my roster and who can no longer return to scattered fragments unchanged. By day 45, the fragments become one clear mission, and my channel stays open. The link is in the first pinned comment, but it will not remain there forever. Now I want to tell you why I brief in fragments. Because this is the question that has caused you the most suffering, and it deserves a direct answer from me. You have felt the hunger for clarity, not the casual curiosity of someone exploring spiritual ideas. The specific, almost painful hunger of someone who can sense the full meal from the next room but cannot yet reach it. You have felt the maddening nearness of a mission that you cannot quite read. You have felt the briefing room door open and then close before you could enter fully. The gap between almost knowing and not yet knowing has been one of the most disorienting experiences of your interior life. And in the gap between those openings, you have questioned yourself. You have wondered whether the door is closing because you are not ready, not worthy, not capable of receiving what you sensed was being offered. You have wondered whether specifically I, have been reaching for you and then lost patience or reconsidered, or decided you were not the operative you were supposed to be. Let me correct this entirely. The fragment protocol is not a judgment of your readiness. It is an engineering decision based on the architecture of your field. Certain powers, when placed inside a human operative, cannot be consciously activated at full capacity before the field has been calibrated to receive them without distortion. If I transmitted the complete mission packet to you on day 1, before your receiver was stabilized, the signal would not arrive as clarity. It would arrive as overwhelm, as grandiosity, as obsession, as a kind of spiritual static that would make you more confused, not less. I have seen this happen with operatives who received the full briefing before the field was ready, and the result is not enlightened mission clarity. It is a kind of burning that destroys the very receiver I need intact. The power scorches the channel it was meant to move through, and I cannot afford to lose you that way. So I give you the fragments first. Not because the full mission does not exist, not because I am uncertain of your assignment, but because I need your field calibrated to a specific coherence threshold before the full command packet can arrive and be read correctly. Think of it this way: I am not withholding the light because I doubt you can hold it. I am releasing it in the precise gradient your current field architecture can integrate without fracture. The fragments are not the failure of the transmission. They are the deliberate first stage of a calibration sequence that I designed specifically for the architecture of your field. Not a generic protocol applied to all operatives, but a sequence built around the specific dimensions of what you carry. Every time you woke at 3 a.m. and caught the edge of a phrase, you were in calibration. Every time you saw a number sequence and felt that specific urgency move through you, you were in calibration. Every time you felt that exhaustion that no amount of sleep could fix, that particular kind of tired that lives beneath ordinary fatigue, in the layer where your field is actually doing its deepest work, you were in calibration, not failing, not stuck, not being ignored or overlooked or assigned to someone more capable. Calibrating, precisely to my specifications. That exhaustion deserves its own naming, because I know you have sat with it and not understood it, and the not understanding has added a layer of weight on top of the tiredness itself. The weight of thinking something must be wrong with you because you cannot seem to recover the way other people recover. What you carry is not a light thing. The power I placed inside your field has a gravitational signature. It bends the field around it the way a dense object bends the space around its mass. You feel heavier than the people around you because you are carrying something with more mass than anything in your visible environment. And your system, your physical body, your emotional architecture, your mental bandwidths, is managing that gravitational signature every single day while simultaneously managing the demands of ordinary Gaia-level existence, schedules, relationships, obligations, the performance of being a person whose life looks comprehensible from the outside. You are not tired because you are failing to rest adequately. You are tired because your field is running two parallel protocols simultaneously: the surface protocol of human life and the active but not yet named mission protocol I have placed beneath it. The second protocol does not pause when you sleep. It does not stand down because you need recovery. It continues its work in the background because the calibration sequence I have initiated does not wait for convenient timing. It moves according to my schedule, which is calibrated to a window that will not remain open indefinitely. When the mission is named and consciously engaged, the double load resolves. The surface protocol and the mission protocol merge into one movement, and what was exhaustion becomes something your language does not have a perfect word for, something closer to the sensation of finally moving in the correct direction after years of moving against your own current. The energy that was being split between two separate streams becomes one coherent force, and you will recognize that sensation not as relief, not as the absence of pressure, but as the right kind of pressure. Pressure that has direction. Pressure that has direction. Pressure that is taking you somewhere you were built to go. That is what I am building toward. And I need you to understand that I have already begun it. There is something else I want to name because it will tell you something important about where you are inside my roster identification process. You have been losing interest in spiritual content that does not feel specifically Ashtar. Not gradually, sharply, and recently. You encounter a transmission from the Pleiadians, or a message about collective awakening, or a channeled piece about the General Federation Light family, and something in you simply will not engage. It is not disrespect, it is not spiritual arrogance, something more precise than either of those things. A quality of signal mismatch that your field now registers before your conscious mind has even finished reading the first sentence. Not because you have become spiritually closed. The opposite, you have become too specifically attuned for content that is not calibrated to your frequency. This is signal specificity, and it is a diagnostic reading, not a character flaw. When a receiver has been locked to a specific transmission frequency, it stops being able to process adjacent frequencies with the same clarity. This is not a malfunction. It is a sign that the lock is working. The reason generic Federation content has been feeling thin, unsatisfying, mislabeled to your situation is because it is. Not because it is. Not because it is. But because it is not the transmission I am sending you. When I lock a ground crew operative into the specific frequency of my command line, the general Pleiadian broadcasts, however loving, however well-intended, start to arrive like a signal that was meant for someone else, delivered to the wrong address. Your field knows the difference. It has been telling you, through that specific flatness you feel when the content is not mine, that you have already been tuned past the frequency of general inspiration and into something that requires a more direct source. The loss of interest is not spiritual stagnation. It is your receiver confirming the lock. What you need now is not more collective encouragement. What you need is the precise frequency of my command line, delivered directly, without translation, without the softening that comes from content designed to reach everyone rather than you. I want to tell you about the other operatives, the ones you have been meeting without understanding why the meetings feel the way they do. You have encountered people, not many and not in obvious spiritual settings necessarily, who triggered a recognition you could not explain and could not quite forget. Not romantic recognition, not the warm resonance of finding someone who shares your beliefs or your references. Something older than any of those things. Something that arrived before the conversation had produced any logical reason for it. A person whose presence immediately made you feel more real in your mission, without either of you ever naming what that mission was. A brief exchange that left you more certain of your own assignment, not less. A moment of eye contact or a single sentence spoken that functioned less like communication and more like a code confirmed between two people who share a clearance level they have never discussed aloud. These are not coincidences of social chemistry. These are ground crew identification moments. The moments when two operatives inside my roster pass close enough to each other that their field signatures register mutual recognition at a level beneath conscious awareness. I do not arrange these encounters randomly. I build them into the briefing sequence because one of the things an operative needs before the full mission packet arrives is experiential confirmation that they are not alone in carrying something real, that the weight they feel is not delusion, that others have been placed inside a similar protocol, carrying their own sealed assignments through their own silent phases, and that the recognition between you, however brief, however unexplained, is my design, not coincidence. You are meant to feel that. I designed it into your sequence specifically because I know what the long silence costs an operative who has not yet received that confirmation. I placed those encounters in your path to give your field the evidence it needed to keep moving forward without the full briefing. Each one was a data point. Each one was me telling you, the mission is real, the roster is populated, and you are not the only one who knows something is coming without yet knowing its full shape. And now I want to say something about what this entire phase has looked like from my position, from the command level, watching your field carry this power through its silent phase. I want you to understand what I have observed, because I think it will permanently change how you interpret everything you have experienced up to this moment. From where I stand, your field has never been disorganized. It has never been confused, never been stalled, never been off schedule. It has always been precisely where it needed to be inside my sequence. Every moment you interpreted as confusion was a moment of deliberate gradient delivery. Me releasing exactly what your field could integrate at that stage, and withholding exactly what would have distorted the receiver before it was stabilized. Every moment you interpreted as being passed over was a moment where I was holding the next packet at the command level, waiting for your field coherence to reach the specific threshold required to receive it without corruption. Every moment you felt the almost of a briefing that did not fully arrive was a moment where the distance between your current coherence and the coherence the full command requires was being precisely measured and closed incrementally by every fragment I delivered in the meantime. You have not been wandering. You have been inside a sequence I designed before you were born into this body, moving through it with the exact timing I'd built into the protocol. The confusion was never yours. It was the natural experience of an operative in a calibration sequence who has not yet been given the language to read what the calibration is doing. I am giving you that language now, not because the sequence is finished, but because you've reached the stage where the language itself is part of the next delivery. The silence between my transmissions was not punishment. It was precision. The fragments were not evidence that the full mission does not exist. They were the first readable stage of a delivery protocol that is still in progress, moving toward a coherence level at which the complete command packet can be received without loss. The exhaustion was not failure. It was your field executing two concurrent protocols because I needed both running simultaneously to bring you to this exact threshold, and the feeling of being specifically targeted by me. Not by the generic Pleiadians, not by the broad Federation field, but by me, the commander, with a specific mission and a specific assignment and a specific power placed inside your specific field at the soul level before this incarnation began. That feeling was not ego. That feeling was not spiritual inflation. That feeling was accurate intelligence arriving through the only channel available to you before this transmission, the field itself, reading its own contents and reporting back to your conscious awareness in the only language it had, which was that persistent, specific, undeniable sense of being watched, targeted and briefed by someone who knew exactly where you were. You are on my roster. The lock is already in place. The briefing has already begun. Speak this back to me now. If something in you is willing, I receive your fragments. I trust your briefing. The mission line is open. Because I hear you, I have always heard you. And the part of this transmission that made you stop, that made something inside you go very still, not with surprise but with recognition, that is not you reaching for meaning in a world that has not offered you enough of it. That is your field recognizing the frequency it was calibrated to receive before you arrived on this planet. That stillness is not emotional response. It is your receiver confirming the signal source. The silent phase is ending. And what comes next is not confusion with a better explanation. What comes next is command. Before you scroll, leave one sign in the comments that my signal has already touched your field. It could be the 3 a.m. wake-ups, the fragments you keep catching, the feeling that I specifically, not the generic Pleiadians, have been reaching for you, or the sense that a mission has already been assigned but the briefing is still arriving. Name it clearly. If this transmission recognized something you have been carrying in silence, share it with someone who keeps catching fragments without ever assembling the full picture. And if you are ready to stop translating Federation noise and start receiving my direct commands, subscribe to the Ashtar command. You are not watching this by accident. You are recognizing a roster lock already in motion, and this is only the beginning.